Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a concept that is quietly yet really profoundly shaping pretty much every decision you make, every habit you form, and ultimately, well, your potential for success.
It's kind of a big deal then.
It really is. We're embarking on a deep dive into the fascinating world of the subconscious mind, and we're exploring how you can intentionally tap in to its immense, often hidden power.
Right. That hidden part is key, isn't it? Because it operates below our normal awareness.
Exactly. And the source material for today's exploration isn't just theory, which I've found compelling. It promises a practical pathway to, unleash inner power, supercharge your creativity.
And actually achieve your goals.
Right. Achieve your most ambitious goals, all by truly understanding and activating this powerful part of yourself.
And activating is the operative word there, not just understanding it passively.
Totally. And what's even more compelling, I think, is the suggestion that you can begin making tangible progress in as little as 10 minutes a day.
Which makes it sound very accessible, doesn't it? Not like some huge undertaking.
It does. So, okay, let's unpack this. What exactly is this mysterious autopilot system that seems to be running so much of our lives behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Let's start right there, actually, that foundational question. What exactly is the subconscious mind?
Good place to start.
Yeah. The insights from our dive define it as, well, this vast mental space where all your automatic processes occur. Think of your beliefs, your ingrained emotions, your daily habits, countless memories.
All that stuff that just happens.
Exactly. It all operates below your conscious awareness, dictating so much of what you do without you even, thinking about it. It's a bit like the sophisticated autopilot system in an aircraft.
Right. That's a great analogy, actually.
You don't necessarily see it actively working. There's no flashing light on the dashboard saying subconscious engaged or anything.
No, definitely not.
But it's this powerful, unseen force that keeps everything running smoothly. Or, unfortunately, sometimes not so smoothly if it's misaligned with where you consciously want to go.
Right. If the autopilot's set for the wrong destination, essentially. And what's truly fascinating here, and quite eye-opening when you first encounter it, is the sheer scale of its influence.
Yeah.
Our exploration reveals this staggering neurological statistic. The subconscious processes roughly 95% of our daily thoughts and actions.
95%.
95, yeah. Pause for a moment and really let that sink in.
Wow.
It means that only about 5%, a tiny fraction, is left for our conscious mind to handle.
So all the thinking and deciding, I think I'm doing, that's just 5%.
Pretty much, yeah. The conscious, deliberate part. And this isn't just an interesting number. It's the fundamental reason why willpower alone often fails us.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Think about it. Imagine trying to consciously drive a car while 95% of its engine and steering are fighting against you, or are just, on a completely different pre-programmed course.
You wouldn't get very far.
Yeah.
Or you'd end up somewhere else entirely.
Exactly. So if you're truly striving to make real, lasting changes in your life, maybe building new positive habits or overcoming those deep-seated fears that hold you back, or unlocking more creativity, the profound insight here is that you absolutely have to learn to work with this 95%.
Not against it?
Not against it. It's not about more effort necessarily, but about smarter alignment with this hidden power. And this overwhelming percentage, this 95%, it's incredibly crucial for understanding human behavior. It really highlights the limitations of relying solely on conscious effort, on sheer willpower.
Which we tend to do, right? Just try harder.
We absolutely do. We frequently try to force ourselves to change. Maybe you've tried starting a new diet or hitting the gym consistently or breaking a procrastination habit just by telling yourself to do it.
Guilty as charged.
We all are. But if that powerful 95% of your mind is still running old, outdated programs, patterns of thought, ingrained beliefs, automatic reactions, it's like trying to steer a supertanker with a tiny paddle.
Yeah, futile.
The conscious mind might scream, stop eating the cake. But the deeper programming pulls you back towards comfort or habit.
Okay.
But think about everyday actions, too. Driving your familiar route to work, brushing your teeth, tying your shoelaces.
Things you do without thinking.
Exactly. They're largely subconscious processes. And they beautifully demonstrate the incredible efficiency of this part of our mind. It frees up our conscious attention for other things.
Right. So it's not inherently bad. It's useful.
Extremely useful. But that same efficiency means that if we've inadvertently ingrained negative patterns or limiting beliefs, the subconscious will just relentlessly continue to run those programs on autopilot. Regardless of our conscious desires, it doesn't question the program, it just runs it.
So, okay. This raises a really important question then. If it's doing so much behind the scenes, often without us even realizing it, how on earth can we direct it? How do we align it with what we actually want? Which leads us perfectly to the next point. If the subconscious is this powerful, this pervasive, running the show 95% of the time, why would we want to actively, intentionally engage with it? What's truly in it for us, beyond just understanding the theory?
Right. What are the practical payoff?
Exactly. And our dive into the material unpacks some pretty immediate and compelling benefits. It's quite a list, actually. It details how intentionally engaging your subconscious can unlock deeper creativity and intuition.
Things many people are looking for.
Definitely. And significantly improve your focus and memory, accelerate the formation of beneficial habits.
Faster habit change is a big one.
Huge. Facilitate profound emotional healing,
Yeah.
cultivate greater confidence and motivation,
Confidence, motivation, again, really core desires.
and ultimately bring you into a powerful alignment with your deepest goals and desires. It really sounds like a fundamental shift, almost like an internal software upgrade for your entire operating system.
That's a good way to put it, an OS upgrade.
And what's vital to emphasize here, and our source makes this abundantly clear, is that this isn't about mind control or some kind of magic trick.
Important distinction.
Very. The language used is specific and, I think, empowering. It's about mental conditioning and awareness.
Yes, that distinction between magic and mental conditioning is absolutely critical because, frankly, if we miss that point, we risk dismissing the whole thing as, woo-woo or wishful thinking.
Right, just positive thinking soft.
Exactly. When in reality, it's far more grounded in how our minds actually function. The core insight here, and it's a powerful one for you, the listener, is this. The subconscious doesn't judge or question.
Don't judge.
Nope, it simply stores and repeats what you feed it. Think of it like a super efficient computer that executes code without evaluating its validity, or maybe like a diligent servant that carries out instructions without questioning their morality or logic.
Okay, so it just does.
It just does, which means you have the profound power to choose what kind of information, what beliefs, what programs you feed into this incredibly influential part of your mind.
So the responsibility comes back to us.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this concept fundamentally empowers individuals. It shifts the focus from external circumstances, which often feel beyond our control, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It shifts the focus from that to our internal programming, which we can influence. This implies a highly proactive, self-directed approach to mental well-being, personal mastery, and ultimately achieving our goals. So let's dig into that idea of not judging. What does that really mean in practice?
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
It suggests a complete absence of the conscious mind's usual skepticism, self-doubt, or those logical barriers that often trip us up when we try something new.
Like the inner critic.
Exactly. So when you feed the subconscious a new idea or belief, say, through affirmations or visualization, it doesn't stand there and argue, well, that's not logically possible, or you've tried that before and failed.
It just accepts the input.
It basically accepts it as a directive, especially if that input is consistent and, crucially, emotionally charged. Emotion adds weight.
Okay.
And this characteristic is precisely what enables faster habit formation or emotional healing.
How so?
Well, take a bad habit, maybe excessive snacking when stressed.
Yeah.
Consciously, you might be fighting it with willpower, right? Don't reach for the chips.
The daily battle.
Right. But the subconscious, if it's still running that old program of comfort eating equals stress relief, creates this constant internal struggle. You're fighting your own programming.
Makes sense.
Activating your subconscious using these techniques helps you rewrite that program at a much deeper, more fundamental level. You're installing a new program, like, I handle stress calmly and resourcefully. This leads to less internal resistance and more automatic, effortless change over time.
So the new behavior becomes the default.
That's the goal. And this applies beautifully to learning new skills, too. Think about first learning to drive a car.
Oh, yeah. Total concentration required.
Every single action, checking mirrors, steering, shifting gears, needed intense conscious effort, didn't it?
Absolutely. Exhausting.
But over time, through repetition and practice, your subconscious took over. Those actions became automatic, fluid, allowing your conscious mind to focus on traffic, navigation, singing along to the radio.
Right.
This is exactly what we're aiming for with other mental and emotional patterns, making beneficial behaviors and positive beliefs your new automatic default.
Okay, so that's a really solid foundation. We understand what the subconscious is and why it's so vital to engage with it intentionally. Now let's get into the really practical part, which I think listeners will be eager to hear. This is where it gets really interesting.
The how-to.
Exactly. The material we've explored provides 7 distinct, powerful ways to start activating your subconscious mind. And what's truly exciting, as we mentioned, is that many of these you can start incorporating into your daily life for just 10 minutes or less.
Making it very doable.
Very doable. Each of these methods acts as a direct line, a kind of superhighway, if you will, to that powerful 95% of your mind, bypassing the conscious gatekeeper and getting right to the core programming, allowing you to influence that autopilot for your benefit. Let's dive into these practical strategies one by one. Okay, strategy number 1. The first way highlighted for us is to use positive affirmations daily. So what exactly are affirmations for anyone unfamiliar? They are basically short, powerful statements designed specifically to reprogram your subconscious mind.
Short, positive, and present tense. Those are key.
Right. And the key word here, according to our insights, is repetition. This isn't a one-and-done magic spell. It's about consistent input.
Consistency builds the new pathway.
For example, you might choose an affirmation like, I am confident and calm under pressure. Or maybe, I easily attract abundance into my life. Simple, clear statements.
And repetition is so crucial here because, as we said, the subconscious mind learns through consistent input. It's like installing new software onto a powerful computer.
You can't just click install once and expect it to be fully functional immediately.
Exactly. It needs that consistent data flow, byte by byte, until the new program is fully integrated and becomes the default operating system. Affirmations, by being positive, concise, and crucially, in the present tense, are designed to bypass the critical, analytical, conscious mind over time.
Why the present tense specifically? Why not, I will be confident?
Good question. When you consistently say, I am confident, rather than I will be confident someday, you're programming the subconscious to accept it as a current reality, right now, not a future aspiration or a wish. The present tense removes doubt, bypasses the waiting state, and fosters immediate acceptance at that deeper level.
Got it. So it feels real now to the subconscious.
And the material provides very clear guidance on how to do this effectively. It's not complicated. You can say your affirmations aloud or silently. Some people find saying them aloud more powerful, engages more senses.
For how long?
Just 5 to 10 minutes a day. Ideally, first thing in the morning, right after waking up, or just before bed.
Why those times specifically?
Because those are prime times when your mind is naturally more receptive. It's in a more relaxed state, often in those alpha or theta brainwave states we mentioned earlier. The conscious gatekeeper is less active, less critical.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Easier access.
Exactly. Another powerful way is to write them down in a journal. The physical act of writing engages different parts of the brain and can really deepen the impression, embedding the message more firmly.
I like that. The writing part.
And crucially, as we touched on, always use the present tense and keep them positive. This is vital.
Why avoid negatives like, I am not afraid?
Because the subconscious doesn't really process negatives very well. If you say, I'm not afraid, your subconscious might still primarily register the word afraid and inadvertently strengthen that underlying feeling or focus.
Oh, interesting. So here's the core word.
It often does. So instead, you'd reframe it positively. Instead of, I am not afraid, you'd say, I am courageous, or I am calm, or I feel secure. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want.
Right. That makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And how can this seemingly simple practice quickly impact something as complex as confidence or calmness?
Yeah, how does 5 minutes change deep patterns?
It's the consistency. Small, consistent doses of positive self-talk repeatedly fed into that 95% of your mind literally start to chip away at old, ingrained negative self-talk. It gradually builds new, empowering neural pathways. You're literally changing your internal dialogue and self-perception over time. And eventually, that new internal voice becomes your default setting.
Okay, that covers affirmations using powerful words.
Yeah.
But what about engaging its visual processing power? You mentioned the subconscious responds strongly to images.
Yes, incredibly strongly. Visuals are like a primary language for the subconscious.
So that brings us to our second powerful pathway. Visualize with intention. Our exploration tells us, as you said, the subconscious responds strongly to images. So visualization becomes this incredible active tool. It helps your subconscious accept your goals as an existing reality, almost as if they've already happened.
Exactly. It's like pre-living the experience internally.
The examples given are really relatable too. Picturing yourself, giving a successful presentation, maybe hitting a fitness goal, or even vividly experiencing living your ideal life. It sounds like, I don't know, directed daydreaming. but with a purpose.
You could call it that, but it has a profound internal effect. It's much more structured and intentional than random daydreaming. And why are images so profoundly powerful for the subconscious? It's because, quite remarkably, it doesn't really differentiate between a vividly imagined experience and a real one.
Seriously, they can't tell the difference.
At its core processing level, not really. When you visualize something with intensity, with feeling, your brain processes those images and the accompanying emotions as if they are actual events occurring in your present reality.
Oh,
This literally begins to create new neural pathways. It's essentially pre-paving the neurological road for the desired outcome. The subconscious doesn't care if it's real in the external world or imagined vividly in the internal world. It just responds to the sensory input, treating it as a blueprint for action.
that explains why athletes use it so much.
Absolutely. Athletes, performers, successful individuals often swear by visualization. They aren't just dreaming. They are actively programming their minds and bodies for success. Priming the pump. And the how-to here is also pretty straightforward, yet really impactful. The material suggests setting aside 5 to 10 minutes daily. Find a quiet space, close your eyes.
Similar time commitment to affirmations.
Yes, very manageable. The key is to picture your goal with incredible vividness. Engage all your senses. Don't just see it, experience it.
What do you mean by all senses?
Well, what feelings are associated with achieving that goal? Imagine the joy, the relief, the pride. Feel it in your body. What sounds would you hear? Applause, a congratulatory voice, maybe the gentle hum of your ideal environment.
Ah, okay. Making it multidimensional.
Exactly. What colors are prominent in that scene? What might you smell or even taste? This multisensory approach deepens the impression on the subconscious, making the imagined experience feel incredibly real and tangible.
So the more real it feels, the better.
Precisely. And critically, like with affirmations, imagine it as if it's happening now. This present tense immersion is key. It tricks the subconscious into believing it's already a reality, prompting it to work towards aligning your external actions and opportunities with that internal blueprint.
Like giving it a destination that already exists in your mind.
You got it. Think about those pro athletes visualizing winning a race or making that perfect shot. They're creating a detailed blueprint for peak performance that their subconscious then helps them execute almost automatically when the time comes.
Okay, our third practical pathway takes us to a practice many people are familiar with, but maybe haven't viewed through this specific lens. Meditate regularly. We often associate meditation with finding inner calm or reducing stress, right? Which it definitely does.
Absolutely. Those are well-known benefits.
But our source highlights a specific, powerful benefit for subconscious activation. It says, meditation quiets the conscious mind and opens the door to the subconscious.
That's the key connection for our discussion today.
This feels like a profoundly different way to look at a familiar practice, turning it into a direct tool for influencing your deeper mind.
Precisely. That conscious mind, that active 5% we talked about, is often filled with this incessant chatter, right? Analytical thinking, planning, worrying, self-criticism.
The monkey mind.
The monkey mind, exactly. By intentionally quieting that mental noise through meditation, you effectively lower the guard of the critical conscious mind. This allows for greater, more direct and unhindered access to the vast 95% your subconscious.
So less interference from the logical, doubting part.
Exactly. When that constant stream of daily thoughts subsides, the deeper layers of the mind become far more accessible. This is where insights, intuition, deeply held beliefs, and creative solutions often reside. And critically, in that quieter state, the subconscious is also more receptive to new programming and ideas. It's like clearing out the static on a radio so you can hear the clear signal. Now, how to practice this effectively? The material advises something simple. Sit quietly for 10 to 15 minutes.
Slightly longer than the first two, but still manageable.
Still very manageable. The core instruction is simply to focus on your breath. Your breath provides a consistent, neutral anchor for your attention, drawing you away from those distracting thoughts.
But thoughts always come up, don't they?
They absolutely will. That's just what minds do. The crucial instruction here is to observe them without judgment.
Easier said than done sometimes.
It takes practice. Don't engage with the thoughts, don't try to push them away forcefully, and definitely don't criticize yourself for having them. Just gently notice them, acknowledge their presence like clouds passing in the sky, and then gently return your focus to your breath.
So just notice and return.
Notice and return. That non-judgmental observation is crucial for not getting pulled back into the usual conscious analytical thinking loops. Over time, with consistent practice, you'll find yourself able to access deeper states of mind. This can lead to profound clarity, unexpected insights popping up, and a much stronger connection to your intuition.
Interesting.
And there's a bonus detail from our exploration that emphasizes the neurological impact. Meditation actually increases alpha and theta brainwaves.
Okay, what do those mean?
Alpha waves are associated with a relaxed yet alert state, think light meditation or daydreaming. Theta waves indicate an even deeper state of relaxation, often bordering on sleep. This is a state where creativity, memory consolidation, and subconscious processing are highly active.
So it literally changes your brain state to be more receptive.
Exactly. This scientific connection directly supports how meditation can open up new insights or creative solutions. It literally shifts your brain into a more receptive, less judgmental, more creative state. It's a powerful tool for internal exploration and problem solving.
Right. For our fourth pathway, we're delving into something that might sound a bit mysterious or maybe even intimidating to some. Hypnosis or self-hypnosis.
Yeah, this one often comes with some baggage, doesn't it? Stage shows and swinging watches.
Right. But our source clarifies it really beautifully, kind of dispelling those stage magic connotations. It defines hypnosis simply as a relaxed, focused state where suggestions bypass the critical mind and go directly into the subconscious.
Much less intimidating when put that way.
Definitely. It makes it sound much more approachable and, more importantly, incredibly powerful for personal development and intentional reprogramming.
You've hit on something crucial there. It's really important to emphasize the naturalness of the hypnotic state. That can be a relief for many listeners. Our material notes it's similar to the state between waking and sleeping, that twilight zone.
Which we all experience every day.
Exactly, twice a day, in fact. This demystifies it considerably. In this deeply relaxed yet focused state, the critical mind, that conscious filter or gatekeeper we keep mentioning, the one that often generates doubt or resistance, it just gently moves aside.
Kind of steps back for a bit.
Right. This allows suggestions, especially those aligned with your conscious goals, to be absorbed directly by the receptive subconscious without that usual resistance or overanalysis. It's like gently disarming a mental security system, so you can update the core software without triggering alarms or arguments from the conscious mind.
So it's not about being controlled.
Not at all. It's about being deeply receptive to beneficial suggestions that you choose. And how to do it, according to our insights, is surprisingly accessible these days.
Okay, how?
Well, one easy way is to use guided hypnosis audio tracks. Thankfully, there are many excellent options available, often for free, on platforms like YouTube or various meditation and self-help apps.
So someone guides you into the state.
Exactly. These audios typically guide you into a relaxed state using voice prompts, music, or soundscapes, and then deliver positive, goal-oriented suggestions tailored to specific outcomes: confidence, overcoming fears, better sleep, etc. Vary. Alternatively, you can try self-hypnosis. This involves simply relaxing deeply on your own, perhaps using techniques like progressive muscle relaxation or focusing on your breath, and then repeatedly, calmly, offering a goal-focused suggestion to yourself.
Like an affirmation, but in a deeper state.
Precisely. This direct input, while you're in that relaxed state where your conscious mind is less active and critical, allows the suggestion to sink in much more profoundly. Now, this method might be particularly effective for really ingrained habits or deep-seated limiting beliefs because it directly targets the programming without the conscious mind's typical resistance or argumentation getting in the way.
So for the really stubborn stuff.
It can be very powerful for that, yes. For example, if you have a belief like, I'm just not good at public speaking, or I always struggle with money, using hypnosis allows you to introduce the counter-suggestion, I am a confident and engaging speaker, or I am capable of attracting and managing wealth, directly to the part of your mind that holds the original belief, bypassing the conscious voice that might typically argue, no, you're not, or that's unrealistic.
It's like a direct line to the programming department.
That's a perfect way to put it, a direct route to the deep programming.
Okay, this next one is truly intriguing because honestly, it feels like an incredibly easy win. Method number 5, leverage the power of sleep, specifically the moments right before you drift off. Our source says these moments before sleep are when your subconscious is most open to suggestion.
The golden window.
Right. This sounds like a remarkably passive, yet potentially profoundly effective way to program your mind without much conscious effort. I mean, you're already going to sleep anyway.
It absolutely is, and it cleverly leverages a natural biological process.
Yeah.
This ties directly into what's known as the hypnagogic state.
Hypnagogic.
Yeah, it's that fascinating twilight zone, that transition state between full wakefulness and deep sleep.
Hmm.
As your conscious mind begins to power down, becoming less active, less analytical, less critical, your subconscious mind becomes highly receptive and absorbent, like a sponge.
Okay, so the defenses are down.
Exactly. It's like the perfect window of opportunity for planting new seeds of thought or intention directly into incredibly fertile mental ground. And this happens right before your brain begins its crucial nightly consolidation processes. And the material gives clear, actionable instructions on how to harness this powerful time effectively. It's simple stuff.
Like what?
You can simply review your goals or repeat your positive affirmations right before falling asleep. Just lying there in bed, thinking about them, feeling them. A few minutes of focused intent can make a significant difference.
Doesn't have to be complicated.
Not at all. Alternatively, you can listen to calming affirmations or specialized sleep hypnosis tracks as you're drifting off. These are often designed with gentle music, maybe binaural beats or soothing spoken words to guide you into that receptive state and deliver beneficial suggestions while you fall asleep.
So you just put on headphones and relax.
Pretty much. And what's particularly compelling is that our exploration explicitly calls this hypnagogic programming. And it states it's scientifically supported for memory and emotional processing.
Oh, there's science behind this specific timing.
Yes. During sleep, especially depth sleep, your brain is incredibly active. It's consolidating information learned during the day, processing emotions, forming new memories, essentially sorting and filing everything.
The night shift.
Exactly. So by feeding it intentional, positive input just before this process begins, you're essentially guiding its nocturnal activity. You're subtly directing it towards your desired outcomes, strengthening relevant neural pathways for things like motivation, memory recall, problem solving, and emotional resilience.
Wow. So it works while you sleep.
It does. It's a remarkably passive, from your conscious perspective, yet potentially profoundly impactful practice. It can lead to subtle but significant shifts in your internal state and how you approach your waking life, all while you're resting.
All right, moving on to the sixth powerful way to activate your subconscious. This one involves writing, journal freely. It's a method often referred to as stream of consciousness writing or maybe morning pages, which is a popular technique from Julia Cameron's work.
Yes, very similar concepts. The core idea is that uncensored flow.
Right. Our material states it helps to uncover hidden beliefs and insights from the subconscious. This really sounds like opening a direct pipeline, doesn't it? Like a raw data dump from whatever's swirling just below the surface.
It absolutely is a direct pipeline, and a surprisingly effective one at that.
Yeah.
Why does this kind of uncensored, free-flowing writing work so powerfully? Well, because it completely bypasses the inner critic.
Oh, that gatekeeper again?
That same one. That often harsh, judgmental voice that scrutinizes our thoughts before they even fully form, censoring us sometimes before we even put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
When you commit to writing whatever comes to mind without stopping to edit, without pausing to overthink, without worrying if it makes sense, you allow raw, unfiltered thoughts, feelings, and even hidden associations and memories to emerge onto the page.
Just letting it flow out.
Exactly. This process can quickly reveal patterns, deeply held beliefs you weren't aware of, recurring fears, or maybe even profound truths about yourself that you might not consciously acknowledge or even be fully aware of normally. It's a form of active self-discovery through uninhibited expression. It often reveals the very programs running in your 95% autopilot. Now, how to practice this? The material suggests something simple. Set a timer for, say, 10 minutes.
Okay.
The key is to simply write whatever comes to mind without stopping. Keep the pen moving or keep typing. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, punctuation, coherence, or whether it even makes sense.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. The speed and the absolute lack of censorship are crucial because they prevent the conscious, analytical mind from stepping in, filtering, judging, or censoring what you're writing. It aims to be a pure download directly from your deeper mind.
And what do you do with it afterwards?
Interestingly, you don't even have to reread it immediately. Sometimes it's better not to. You can just close the journal or the document and reflect later, maybe the next day, or even a few days later. You'll often find, looking back with fresh eyes, that surprising patterns, recurring themes, unexpected emotions, or profound truths emerge that you weren't consciously aware of while you were writing.
Like finding clues in your own thoughts.
Exactly. This technique is a longtime favorite for writers, artists, and frankly, anyone grappling with complex problems or feeling stuck. It helps break creative blocks and fosters clarity precisely because they're not just writing, they're digging into that deep subconscious wellspring for authentic expression, inspiration, and often surprising solutions.
Okay, finally, we arrive at the seventh method. And this feels like perhaps the most foundational one, maybe the culmination of many of these other practices. Rewire limiting beliefs.
Yeah, this one gets right to the core of programming, you could say.
Our source notes that most people carry negative subconscious beliefs like, I'm not good enough or I can't succeed. Things we tell ourselves, often unconsciously.
Very common internal narratives.
And to truly activate the subconscious for genuine, lasting success, it becomes absolutely essential that these deeply ingrained, often invisible beliefs are not just ignored or worked around, but actively replaced.
You have to adjust the root code.
This really feels like the ultimate goal, doesn't it? To truly shift that fundamental internal programming that might be silently holding us back, despite our best conscious efforts.
This is indeed foundational because those limiting beliefs, they are often the silent saboteurs running like old, outdated, maybe even corrupted computer programs in our subconscious.
Silently sabotaging. I like that description.
They influence our decisions, our reactions, our self-talk, our perception of opportunities, and our overall behavior frequently without any conscious awareness on our part. We just think, that's the way things are, or that's who I am.
Right. Accept it as reality.
Exactly. And they can be incredibly deep-seated, often formed from childhood experiences, messages we absorbed from society or family, or even past failures that we misinterpreted and generalized from. Replacing them isn't just a surface-level change, like putting a sticky note over a warning light. It's a deep renovation of your internal operating system. It's addressing the root cause of many self-imposed limitations.
Because if you don't change the belief.
Right. If you're trying to build new habits or visualize success, but deep down you still believe you're not worthy of it or not capable, that subconscious belief will always undermine your conscious efforts. It creates internal conflict. So how do we actually do this rewiring? The material provides a clear, actionable 3-step process.
Okay, what are the steps?
First, you must consciously identify a limiting belief. This requires a level of self-awareness and honest introspection, maybe through journaling, meditation, or just paying attention to your recurring negative thoughts or self-talk.
So noticing the pattern, like, I always think money is hard to make.
Exactly. Or, I'm not good at public speaking, I always mess up relationships, I'm not smart enough for that promotion. You have to name it to tame it, essentially.
Got it. Step 1.
Identify.
Step 2 is to challenge it. Actively question it with evidence and reason. Ask yourself, is this belief always true? Is it universally true? Where did it actually come from? Was it something someone told me? An experience I misinterpreted? Can I find any counterexamples? Times when money wasn't hard to make? Times I did speak okay in front of people? Look for evidence that contradicts the belief, either in your own life or in others. Ask, is this belief actually serving me anymore?
So actively poke holes in it.
Precisely. This critical questioning begins to loosen its grip, to destabilize it.
Okay. And step 3? Step 3 is crucial. Replace it. Consciously choose and install a new, empowering belief. So, money is hard to make becomes something like, opportunities to create wealth are abundant and I attract them easily. Or, I'm not good at public speaking transforms into, I am becoming a more confident and engaging speaker every day. Or even just, I am capable of sharing my ideas effectively.
Creating the new program.
And you see how this method perfectly complements all the other techniques we've discussed.
Yeah, I can see the connections.
It really ties them together. You use self-awareness practices like journaling or meditation, methods 3 and 6, to identify the old limiting belief. Then you use affirmations, method 1, to repeatedly install the new empowering belief. And you use visualization, method 2, to vividly imagine yourself living and acting from that new expanded belief, making it feel real. Hypnosis, method 4, and sleep programming, method 5, can further reinforce the new belief at deeper levels.
So it's like a toolkit working together.
Exactly, a synergistic toolkit. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole process of identifying, challenging, and replacing beliefs, yeah, it can be challenging sometimes. It requires confronting old, comfortable patterns.
It takes courage, probably.
It does, but it offers profound freedom and unlocks so much potential. It actively aligns your internal world, those deep subconscious beliefs, with your external desires and conscious goals. It creates this powerful synergy where your whole self is moving in the same direction. And over time, through consistent practice using these methods, these new empowering beliefs become the default programming, effortlessly guiding your actions towards success and fulfillment rather than unconsciously holding you back.
Okay, so we had these incredible tools, these 7 really practical pathways to activate and ultimately reprogram our subconscious mind. But now comes a very practical question that I'm sure many listeners are thinking about.
Yeah.
How long does this actually take? Is it really 10 minutes a day and you're done, you're reprogrammed, or is this a longer game?
That's a crucial clarification, absolutely. And our source addresses it directly. While the practices themselves can indeed often be done in as little as 10 minutes a day, making them accessible, the full reprogramming of deeply ingrained subconscious patterns is definitely a journey, not an instant fix.
Okay, good to manage expectations.
Right. The core message here is that consistency matters more than speed. While you might feel some immediate benefits from a single session, maybe a sense of calm after meditation or a boost after affirmations, the real lasting change takes time.
How much time are we talking, typically?
Well, experts, as highlighted in our material, often suggest that it takes anywhere from 21 to 66 days of repeated, consistent subconscious training to truly start forming new, solid mental pathways. Some say even longer for very deep-seated patterns.
21 to 66 days, so roughly 1 to 2 months of consistent effort.
That seems to be a common time frame cited for habit formation and neurological change to start taking hold. Think of it like carving a new riverbed. It takes that continuous flow, day after day, to deepen the channel and establish a new default course for your thoughts and behaviors.
It's not about one powerful flood, but that steady stream.
Exactly. And there's also the role of intensity, which our source mentions. The more emotionally charged and vividly imagined your practice is, meaning the more genuine feeling and rich sensory detail you inject into your visualizations or affirmations, the faster and more powerfully it tends to work.
Emotion anchors it more deeply.
Yes, emotion acts like a potent glue for the subconscious mind. Experiences tied to strong emotions get encoded much more readily. So, okay, you're putting in this consistent effort, maybe 10-15 minutes a day. How do you know if it's actually working? How can you tell if your subconscious is activating and the reprogramming is taking hold?
Right. What are the signs? How do we know we're on the right track?
Thankfully, our insights provide some really clear signs to look out for. These can be very encouraging markers of progress along the way.
That's good to know. It's like getting feedback that your internal systems are humming along and making those shifts.
Yeah.
So what did our source list? What are these signs that your subconscious is activating and aligning?
Well, there are several. You might begin to notice heightened creativity or intuition, maybe ideas just start flowing more easily, or you get strong gut feelings about things.
Okay. Increased intuition. What else?
More vivid dreams, sometimes dreams that feel particularly insightful or symbolic.
Interesting. Paying attention to dreams.
Also, a sustained improvement in focus or motivation. Things that used to feel like a slog might start to feel easier or more engaging.
That would be nice.
Definitely. Another big one is sudden solutions or aha moments that seem to come out of nowhere.
Like answers just popping into your head.
Exactly. And finally, just that overall wonderful, empowering feeling of being aligned with your goals and purpose. A sense of flow or things clicking into place more often.
These sound like pretty tangible shifts, not just vague feelings.
They really can be. Let's just quickly explore how these might manifest in daily life. For example, those sudden solutions or insights, they often feel like that aha moment that appears totally out of the blue, right? Maybe when you're showering or taking a walk or just as you're drifting off to sleep.
When you're not actively thinking about the problem.
Precisely. This isn't just random chance. It's often your subconscious, having been fed new information or given a problem to mull over through your practices, delivering the answer after processing it on a deeper, nonlinear level, far beyond your conscious analytical thought.
So it's been working on it in the background.
Exactly. And vivid dreams. These can be your mind's way of processing and integrating the new information, beliefs, or emotional patterns you've been working on during your waking hours. They can be symbolic, helping you understand things differently, sometimes leading to greater clarity or emotional release upon waking.
So dreams become part of the process.
They can be, yes. And improved focus or motivation. That might mean you simply find yourself naturally gravitating towards tasks that align with your goals instead of procrastinating or feeling that familiar internal resistance. Things just start to feel easier, more natural, less like pushing a boulder uphill. And our deep dive provides some wonderful real-life examples that illustrate these principles beautifully. We mentioned athletes visualizing winning, they're actively tapping into subconscious muscle memory and programming peak performance. That often leads to that feeling of being in the zone, which is really a state of subconscious competence.
Right, where they're not consciously thinking about every move.
Exactly. Similarly, successful entrepreneurs often rely heavily on affirmations and powerful visualizations. They use them to maintain belief, resilience, and a positive mindset, especially during really uncertain or challenging times. They're literally programming their internal compass for success, even when external circumstances look daunting.
Keeping that inner belief strong.
Absolutely. And we see writers and artists consistently using methods like meditation and free writing, our methods 3 and 6, to break through creative blocks. They're accessing that deeper wellspring of ideas and inspiration that lies beyond mere conscious thought or forced effort.
Tapping into the source.
Precisely. And these examples directly connect back to you, the listener. Whether you're trying to excel at work, achieve significant personal growth, improve your relationships, get healthier, or unlock your own creative potential, these principles are directly applicable. Your mind, too, can be trained for peak performance and alignment.
So when we boil it all down, what does this all truly mean for you? It means your subconscious mind is always listening. It's always absorbing information, always running programs.
Constantly, 24/7.
Whether you're intentionally feeding it, empowering thoughts and clear visions through the methods we've discussed today, or you're simply letting it run wild based on old, often limiting programming from your past experiences.
Yeah.
It's constantly shaping your habits, influencing your decisions, guiding your emotions, and ultimately dictating your life's trajectory.
It's working for you, or it's working based on old defaults, but it's always working. So to just recap the core message here, by actively, consciously choosing to feed your subconscious empowering thoughts, clear visions, and engaging in these intentional practices, those 7 powerful ways we explored today, you actively align that massive 95% with your conscious desires. It moves from being perhaps a wild, untamed force, maybe unconsciously holding you back, to becoming a powerful, obedient ally in achieving your goals.
An ally instead of an obstacle.
Exactly. And the insights from our dive sum it up beautifully, I think, with that final thought that really reframes the entire discussion. It's not magic, it's mental mastery.
I like that, mental mastery.
It frames this whole process not as some mystical secret, but as an empowering skill, a conscious discipline that you can cultivate to profound effect in your own life.
And the journey of mental mastery, like any skill, starts with a single step.
Yeah.
The source we've explored today really urges us to start today, start small, and stay consistent.
That consistency piece again, it's non-negotiable, really.
It really seems to be. It's not about overwhelming yourself trying to do all 7 methods perfectly from day one, but about beginning the deliberate, consistent practice of programming this incredible inner resource. Choose 1 or 2 that resonate and just start.
Small steps, consistently taken.
Exactly. And here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on as you reflect on today's deep dive. If your subconscious mind truly is always listening, what new story will you choose to tell it about yourself and your capabilities, starting right now?
Powerful question.
And how might that fundamental shift in your internal narrative, that new story, redefine your entire trajectory in the next 21 to 66 days? That window for forming new pathways. We really hope this deep dive has given you powerful, practical tools to begin activating this incredible inner resource. So the question back to you is, what will you try first to begin your own journey of mental mastery?